Good evening. We are going to Club STIMMY. We are going to talk about the EIDL, and that's the economic injury disaster loan that the SBA has. So we're going to talk about the increase that they did and why you should take it. But stay tuned. Good evening. So tonight we're going to talk about EIDL. That is the loan. Remember, it's not the same as PPP. PPP, you must apply through a lender. That program ends May 31st. But then you have EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And that's directly through the SBA portal. And as you know, last week we talked about that they put this button in there that says increase. Well, not only once you got into it, it gave you a range. It didn't give you just a flat dollar amount. Well, a lot of people are thinking, should I take the max? Should I go in the middle? Should I take less? What should I do? How much should I take? This is not, and I repeat, this is not financial advice. This is just my perspective on this situation. It is not financial advice. Do not take this as financial advice. I don't want to be responsible. Don't bite off more than you can chew. I am just giving you a different perspective as to how you can look at this EIDL in order to leverage your business for the purpose of business. As we know that the EIDL loan, you had to be in business as of January of 2020. That's prior to the pandemic to qualify. People on this one, you can be a sole proprietor. That means that you can apply for EIDL under your personal social security number. You can, your personal name. You do not have to have an LLC. And I'm trying to deprogram people from this whole LLC thing because there's more entities in the world than an LLC. You've got a partner limited liability partnership. You got S Corp. You got C Corp. There are so many different entities, and a sole proprietor, you can be yourself, or you can be a DBA, yourself doing business as ABC Realty. It does not matter. You can still apply for EIDL without an LLC, without an EIN number, because if you look on the application, it will clearly ask you for your social security number or your EIN number. A lot of people are going and forming EIN numbers, but they had a legit sole proprietorship and the government is going to know when they issue that EIN number. They're going to know when you got that LLC. So again, do not listen to people who know nothing about nothing. You can be a sole proprietor and get EIDL. Well, they offered you a range. You don't know where to take on the range. This stuff is proposed. This is not anything that's concrete. This is not in writing anywhere, but people are demanding that the government either do a full forgiveness of EIDL like they're doing on PPP, a partial forgiveness like that they are proposing, or for them to lower the interest rate, or to do both a partial forgiveness and lower the interest rate. The interest rate right now is 3.75%. It's a 30-year fix. There are no payments due on this loan. If you get it this year, you won't have a payment due until 18 months. If you got it last year, you will not have a payment until 2022 because they're giving you a 24-month grace period. While you're in this grace period of not having to make any payments, but is the interest still accruing? Yes, the interest still is accruing while you're not making payments, but you don't have a payment that's due. This loan is not for business expansion. This is for fixed costs, overhead. You can help with payroll, but it just cannot be the same time frame. Remember, we talked about that. You got to use different time frames when you're doing your accounting methods for this money, that it cannot be the same time period that you use for PPP. So if you do PPP and you saying PPP is covering your April and May, then guess what? Your EIDL funds should start your payroll in June. So with that being said, if you do not take this money in full, the MAC, and say you'd only take, if they offer you $100,000 and you only take $50,000, well then say in 6 months you need more money. You can go back in and they're saying that you can request more money up to 2 years to your maximum to go back and get. Well, if you've been through that portal, or if you tried last time to do what they call a reconsideration, you know how hard it is to get through, get an answer. So if you want to take a chance on not taking your max, but then going back through the reconsideration part, asking for the rest of your funds at a later time and see how much success you have with that, knock yourself out. They may streamline the process. They may come up with a better process, but I know people that have been in reconsideration since last summer. They've been trying to get more funds, or, hey, Tia, they've had different things going on. So it's kind of hard to get through to the SBA. So like I said, if it becomes a partial forgiveness, what if you only took $50,000, they offered you $100,000, and they say, okay, we're going to forgive half of your loan. Well, guess what? You could have got $100,000. They forgave 50%. Then you would have only owed $50,000, but you got $100,000. So if you never take it, then if you took the 50 and they say, well, we're going to give you a 50% partial forgiveness, guess what? They're only going to forgive 25%. So it's totally up to you. Remember, this is not financial advice, but I'm just telling you, based on what we've seen in the past year with SBA and how things have been going, I would, if you could maintain it, this is a large loan that you're going to get without collateral, without all the bank hoops that you normally have to jump through if you were trying to get traditional financing for your business. This is basically a click of the button. They were not supposed to be checking credit, but they are still checking credit. But from what I'm understanding, that they are allowing people with lower credit scores to qualify. Also, they are saying that they're going off your 2019 tax return. So it's very critical that you have had to have filed your taxes for 2019, because on this, to accept more money, they are requiring that you sign a 4506T. A 4506T is the IRS document that says that they can get your transcript to find out what you have on record with the government to make sure that it matches with your application. So people that just went in on the thing because it wasn't asking for any documentation and they just start keying in numbers and they have no clue what numbers they keyed in, if it's not matching your tax return, then it could pose a issue for you. Thank you, Eureka, for putting that up, that it's the 4506T, but it's in the portal and you sign it from the portal, but they that's what's going to be able to check your tax transcript to make sure that what's on your application is on there. Also, for the grant, they're saying that a lot of people got denied for the grant in the last 2 weeks, that had to fill out those 2 columns between 19 and 20. And if you didn't have a 30%, because it was a little bit different, second round PPP called for a 25% difference on income. That grant required a 30% decrease in income in order to qualify for that. Well, a lot of people did not understand that, did not know that, got declined for the grant. That's the rest of your $10,000 that they promised you last year. Then they're going to look back at that and see if they can help with that, because so many people were declined. But back to the EIDL. So if you don't take it, remember you have up to 2 years and you can request more, but you don't know how the funds are going to be. So if you wait 6 months, 8 months, what if they tell you we don't have any more funds because other people requested their increases, or we had new loan applications and we are trying to serve as many different people as possible. So that's why I say, you have to ask yourself, do I want to take the risk of needing additional funds that I've rejected and trying to get them back when there's no guarantee 100% that you will be able to get them back? If you see that you don't need the funds, remember, there's no prepayment penalty. So you can pay back the money. Say you use only $20,000, you can write a check for the principal payment of the other $30,000 that you did not need if you took a $50,000. But you just pay interest on the time that you had it in your possession. Remember, there's no prepayment penalty. So you can write them a check back if you don't need all the money and you feel like, okay, I'm good, my loan payment's about to come up. And remember, you're not going to have if you take the loan this year, you're not going to have a loan payment for 18 months. If you took it last year, you have 24 months from the time that you took it. So then that means you've already used up or close to 12 months. So you have another year to go with no payments. So weigh your options. Do I want to take all of it and then just pay interest? And then if I don't need it, I can just cut them a check back. Or do I want to do not take it and just reapply and ask them for the rest of my funds and take the risk on possibly being in a queue with millions of other people and not be able to get my funds, or there's no guarantee because it has not been allotted to me. Because I freed those funds up, basically, I didn't want them at that time. So weigh your options as to what you want to do as far as trying to get these things. And more and more people are applying because a lot of people are really hurting. So people that didn't apply last year, they're going in and applying. Also, they were supposed to raise the cap up to $2 million, but we only the maximum amount on loans that I'm hearing that people are getting is $500,000, which is up from the $150,000 cap that they had last year. So they're going up to $500,000 right now that I've seen as the max that anyone has told me that they've been offered. Remember that you can apply as a sole proprietor. You can do it under your Social Security number. Also, if you decide that you did not do it last year, they've added a lot more questions in detail for as a part of the application process. They're even asking people about past due child support. So be aware of that. And then if anybody on here was offered more than 500,000, you don't have to drop it in the comments, but DM me, because we really want to know, like, how much are people getting. Some people are getting offered 3 times their original amount. Some people are getting 7 times their original amount. Make sure that you file those 2019 taxes, because they are going to look at that 4506T. If you have not filed them, I would suggest you hurry up and do that. I don't know as of yet if your tax returns is not showing up, because some people's tax returns are really and actually truly stuck on trucks that they haven't unloaded, or a lot of people are saying that they did not get that the IRS has not transmitted their tax returns if they did not do it electronically. Also, so say they are going to be minority grants in this new bill. There's going to be a lot of different things in this new bill. Actually, he was on tonight to talk about some things that has not happened in a long time, and that they are going to be giving out a lot of money. Yes, there will be there are minority grants. What the details are, I don't know. Monday, for the restaurant owners, the restaurant revitalization fund will be up and running on Monday. But if you look on my in my news feed from earlier today, I did put up a list of things that that restaurant owners need to do on Friday morning. There's going to be a portal that you need to go to and do some things on Friday to gear you up for Monday's application. I'm going to do another video on the restaurant revitalization fund, because they're saying that the restaurant industry was hit harder than most other industries due to COVID. So they are trying to do a lot of assistance. I'm also going to do a session tomorrow. Be sure to go and like it so that you can get the reminder for women grants tomorrow. And I'm going to be sharing some information, because remember, if you're not making money right now, you can be doing things to be proactive rather than reactive. If you're not getting any money, not finding any money right now, it's probably due to your own fault. So there's a lot of money out here. You just have to go get it. Be wise, think about it, and stop listening to people who know nothing about nothing. That's the biggest thing that I'm seeing from people. They're listening to people. You got to consider your source. Is this person a business owner? Is this person achieving and succeeding the way I want to be achieving and succeeding? Is this person just a hater? Is this person just that because they don't know or they don't understand, they can't tell me anything? I'm not saying that you shouldn't weigh your options of what people are telling you, but think about what they're saying, and does it make sense, or is this some ass backwards information that they giving me? Do your own research, do your own due diligence. Again, on this EIDL, as to if you should take all of the money or some of it. Erica, this is only for people who have business, correct? Or can anyone who wants to start a business? No, on EIDL, you had to have started your business in January of 2020. That means pre-pandemic. For PPP, you had to have started your business before February 15th of 2020. But what a lot of people getting confused about, well, I didn't have my LLC until May. Well, if you were doing hair since 1984 and you were filing your taxes under Schedule C under your personal name, guess what? You were in business prior to February the 15th, 2020. So if they say, show me some proof, you got your license, you got your hair license. Those you got expired license that have a dates on it. You got state board exams. You got continuing education certificates to prove that you were in business before that date. So you don't need a LLC. Like I said, a lot of people gonna get caught up because the Secretary of State has a record of when you filed that LLC. You do not, and I cannot overemphasize, thank you. Pre-pandemic, January of 2020, not 2021, but 2020, pre-pandemic, that was before last year. PPP is February the 15th of 2020. So make sure that you can prove that you were in business. That if you were an Uber driver, you can show where you signed up for Uber prior to February of 2020. If you're doing PPP, EIDL, show it using the January date. You can be your social security number, your personal name. You are a sole proprietor. It is nothing wrong with being a sole proprietor. Do not get that confused. People think that a business has to, there are more businesses than a LLC. And I've been screaming this for months, but I still have people telling me every day, I did not start my LLC until January, August. It don't matter. If you were doing that trade, that profession, go back and look at my video from Saturday. I went over a Schedule C. The Schedule C will take a social security number. A Schedule C don't ask you for an LLC. It asks you for a profession. Thank you. And Sonia, thank you. 1099. That means if you've been an independent contractor, some people wanted to know, hey, I've been getting paid by people, but they haven't given me a 1099. You don't need a 1099 to report it on your tax return. You can, people that do hair, because it's got a place on the Schedule C that says, are you in a cash business? You tell them how you collected the money, how you got the money that you got. Every client that comes into a hair salon is not going to write their beautician or their stylist a 1099. They don't do that. So that it's up to the stylist to have good record keeping. And if the government comes in and audits them, it's up to them to be able to prove that the calculations they gave the government were true and accurate. That's how that works. So if you have a business and you collecting Cash App, if you collecting through Zelle, you can file that on your taxes under your social security number and apply for these government programs. Check, and you can apply if you got 3 side hustles. Say you doing, now with the EIDL, it'll pick up your social security number. But on PPP, if you got, say you photography, hairstylist, and a caterer, you can do 3 PPPs for your hairstyling, your catering business, and your photography business. So do not let people that know nothing about nothing tell you something. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, go and Google it. Every ad for PPP will say, are you a gig worker? Are you a 1099? Do you drive for Uber? Do you pick up leads? They are asking the basic, most simple questions because they want people to understand what they are eligible for, because enough people was not applying. And these banks are getting paid by the SBA to process your loan. So, and if you get declined, if you do get declined, then go back and reapply. Look at your denial letter. Find out why. I've got another question here on Instagram. If I already filed using my 1099 from HARE, is it too late to apply for the money? No, you have until May the 31st, but I would do it now for PPP, because if they run out and they're projecting they may run out of funds by mid-May. So you need to get your application in. And we're seeing now that where some banks were funded in 10 days, they're taking 30 days to fund some people's application. So you can go ahead and apply for PPP now. Also, you can apply as long as the portal is up, and we don't know what that deadline is because last time they just took the portal down. You can go on the SBA website directly and file for EIDL. That's two separate things. Please do understand that. Thank you so much for everybody that's tagging other people to help them, or people that you know, because a lot of people are claiming, oh, y'all going to jail, you're going to jail, you're going to jail. Those people don't know nothing about nothing. I haven't seen one reputable person that I would take advice from that has posted on Facebook that I would take, I'm not saying any advice, but that I would take business advice from that has said everybody going to jail that apply for PPP. And if you go on the PPP list is out, so you will see individuals' names on the PPP list. Why? Because they apply for PPP as a sole proprietor. You think the government, if they knew that you had to have an LLC, they was going to award it to somebody in their personal name? No, the government got information. That person provided a tax return, and they applied as a business under their personal name as a sole proprietor. That's why they got it. If you want to go, I mean, that list was floating all around Facebook last week. It told the person's name, their address, the amount of money they got, everything. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, go and look and see who got the loan. See if they got LLC behind their name. See if they just have their personal name. If you see somebody's personal name, because the government put it out, because it's not personal business, it's not personal information, it's not violating privacy, it is a business, and that person applied as a sole proprietor, which counts as a business. So Carolyn, I hope that you apply. If you need some help, or if you don't know how to do the calculations to see if it's worth applying, send me your tax return and I can do the calculations for you. I don't mind doing anybody's calculations for them to give them an estimate to figure out if it's worth their time to do it. Now, let's see. We got another question. I started selling clothes in late 2019. I filed on my taxes using a Schedule C, but I didn't launch a website until March. The lender attempted to fund me for PPP, but my bank rejected the payment. Found out that my bank uses a third party routing company, and I'm stuck on how to get the funds because it won't allow me to enter two routing numbers. Go to the help desk of that lender and tell them what your issue is. And if you need to go and talk to a whole different bank, I would do that and see how they can get you your funds, or call your bank to find out what it is. It's not going to allow you to do two routing numbers, but the help desk of the lender or calling the lender and giving them the correct information should help. Yes, if you started your business late, you're welcome, Carolyn. If you started your business late 2019, guess what? You met the February 15th, 2020 deadline. Guess what? You can apply as a sole proprietor. That's another thing too, Ms. White, that people don't understand, that you need to make sure that when you are doing the PPP, that you get your routing number and account number from the bank. Don't just assume that you can go in your account and see it. make sure, because like big banks like Bank of America, they might have 10 different routing numbers. Because of wire fraud, a lot of them, your wire for a direct deposit is different from if you were going to order checks. Some people cannot use the information at the bottom of their check to do that. So you want to verify with your bank before you put this stuff in, so that you can get this stuff corrected, so there's no delay in your funds. Thank you, Eureka, for putting that up too. Go on the SBA website. Right now, the SBA website should be your best friend. Every new thing, new program that comes out, they're going to release it. You can sign up for their email list. They will email you as these things become available. That way, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to anybody. You can get it straight direct from the SBA itself, and it will tell you, and they update these links. And they also put out frequently asked questions. So the question that you have, a lot of other people may be asking that same question. When she said verify the routing number, thank you, Eureka, for putting these notes up there to help people guide them through this. If you have any questions, please do reach out to me. Remember, tomorrow night, I'm going to do a live for women grants. Friday, I'm going to give you an update. I'm still going through the training stuff for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund to find out how that's going to work, what that's going to do, and what we need to do to hit the ground running with that on Monday. So make sure that you're staying abreast of it. Like and share this video. You may help a business owner. You may help a sole proprietor, somebody that has a Schedule C, but they've been lied to by people that know nothing about nothing. And they could be missing out on some funds. I mean, some people getting as little as $1,000, but $1,000 of free money can really change some people's life right now. A lot of people could use that extra money, or it could be somebody that could be getting $20,000. So that really could change somebody's life, and they just not aware of it. So please do like and share the video. Follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and IG. We've got another question here. They told me the third-party routing company, Bank of America, sent me an email regarding wire transfers to share with my PPP lender. So then I would upload those to that bank system, or I would send them to that bank system. If you have your loan number when you sign your loan docs to get that PPP loan, I would put that in the subject line. If that particular bank, some banks are giving people an application number too. An application number is not the same as your loan number, but I would reference them. And if you signed up as a business, I would put that in the subject line. So that way they can identify your file easy, and they don't have to go and look and search, well, whose email is this? Or they might just junk it and trash it. Also, I would make a phone call to that lender as well. And if you can get somebody on the phone, because I don't know what lender you went through, but some of these lenders are not answering the phone because of the high call volume, and they don't want to be bothered. But if you are able to get somebody on the phone, I would strongly suggest that if the person that answers the phone is not able to help you, that you escalate it to a manager and see if they can get a manager to help you on the line. So because you want to get your funds. And then I don't know if this is your first round or your second round, but if it's your first round, then you can go ahead and start applying for your second round, because you don't want to wait until the deadline to do that if it would accept your number. And then that way you can be getting this all straightened out. And then we're hearing that they may be going back retroactively and helping out people that did not get the max, but should have, because they got their PPP based on the old formula, which was the net, and now people are getting funds based on the new formula, which is the gross. So they are looking at changing that, or they're looking at possibly cutting people a check back for the difference. So we'll stay tuned with all that. And again, Eureka, I really do appreciate you putting the notes up there, and that this can be a blessing to somebody. And remember to share, like the video, and I'll see y'all again tomorrow night.